Should we move to Columbo, the regular
We
one?
can we can move to Columbo.
Okay. I'm just gonna do this, especially with the DD meta.
It's I mean, honestly, even with a game when you get the perfect matchmaking in a battleship where you've got the four battleships and maybe a cruiser or two and only a couple DDs, this ship is still ridiculous. And if you've like I've got a just normal commander,
Same.
but I've got APCS on that commander, and the amount of clamping you could do with this ship is ridiculous.
Although a lot of people forget, I have found, and I don't know what your opinion is that basically with battleships, you want to shoot AP in general, but at about like 6 kilometers, that sap on a bow of a battleship that can do some spicy damage. I know the AP can do a little more consistent, but that sap, if you can land it all on the bow or astern, that
I
can do some
I've got
spicy
a
damage.
I've got a short that I want to put up where I was because actually, since we've introduced all the nation bots, what are the scariest bots to face? Columbos, Lepantos. I was
Yes.
able to pay back a bot with my Columbo with SAP and did like four citadels and a salvo on it and
Oh,
deleted it.
you got revenge for my Castilla experience.
Revenge.
Oh my god, I still remember the my Castilla. I'm like, yeah, it's just a bot Columbo, and I had not run into one yet, and the Castilla just got wiped, just vaporized.
But I mean, let's look at the Columbo itself. The grind. I know a lot of people hate on the tier 7.
Yeah,
It's workable because this whole line is for a battleship line is so stealthy. And if you can understand the positioning and how to work the concealment builds into these ships, I know Columbo's got a 30-second reload, but if you're playing it right, it's so strong. You got the fuel smokes, um, great auto secondaries, great manual secondaries. The ship does everything you can ask. It's just one of those great all-around battleships.
yep. And with the DD meta, some people will kind of push for Columbo to be meta, but I think that it doesn't quite meet the criteria of meta because it's just got that trick of being able to delete DDs. Else, if it gets into a sniper fight with a Black Repub with some of the other meta battleships that we go through, it's gonna lose. It's gonna clearly lose. It's not consistent enough to snipe as much as people like to be. But if you can get in a little bit closer and get in kind of more of a brawling situation with a non-brawling battleship, you're probably going to win just because you have the raw firepower.
Yeah, you got to think about some of these ships. They're not. Columbo is not the we want to sit back at max range and try to trade with the other battleships. You're going to lose that trade. This is the one where you're using that stealth and islands, sneak up on stuff. Delete a destroyer or two along the way, but using your fuel smokes to get close to stuff. And when you can get hell 7-8 kilometers away from another battleship, and you can hit them with 16 freaking AP shells, and just watch his health bar just go poof. They're fantastic. It's a fantastic ship.
I was actually over on EU and I saw the funniest combo: Gdansk, Vampire 2, Columbo. They
Oh,
snuck the Columbo across the field using the Gdansk to spot, and basically the Columbo just one salvo took out the enemy DD, second salvo took out the other DD. Finally, it was spotted, and the enemy team just had no, like, it was already now way too far in. And you had a Gdansk, and you had a Vampire, and I was just sitting back with my Nevsky, just being like, "Well, I'm just gonna assist this. This is carnage.
yeah.
This is good."
But yeah, like I said,
Deadly.
for a free to play battleship, I mean, like that right there almost could tip it into meta. But like you said, the it's just not quite there. It's just not quite that good. But it's such a great ship, and
I
I
could
can't
see
even
if
imagine. I couldn't even imagine if we still had pre-nerf Columbo. That would absolutely just put it right in meta, call it a day. But like I said, just it's such a good ship. It really is.
and for anyone who doesn't know about pre-nerf Columbo, just it had precise aim as well. So basically, it could snipe as well. So you were landing 16 AP shells at max range with really good penetration, all on deck at max at
Oh, you
Just
didn't even
insane
have to
range.
run AP on that. You could just play sap with that
Yeah,
thing.
that's
And
true too.
I remember when it came out, and I was playing Montana, and I would just get like 3/4 of my health would be gone from one Columbo sap shot.
And that was also when the reload was what, like 28, 26, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said,
So,
even with the nerf, this is one of my favorite tier 10 battleships ever.
oh yeah.
It's just like I said, just such a solid ship. If anybody is thinking about like, oh, I don't know if I want to grind it, grind the line. You're gonna love it.
Oh yeah.
So
I would
what
definitely
was an easy one?
grind it before the St. Vincent. Once again, I know we're all like spoiling the St. Vincent here, but like, do not do your first line as St. Vincent grind because you're just gonna spoil yourself too
Well,
much.
that and you got to remember, everybody's starting to grind lines. There's certain lines that I recommend you grind out just to start learning
Yeah,
certain aspects of the battleship play style.
Montana's one of
Positioning,
them.
stealth. Yeah,
Yeah.
Montana's definitely one of them. But there's certain ways I'd say to go before you start getting into the Columbos and the Republics and stuff. You want to just work on some basic skills.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Which once again, you can go over to his channel and he'll teach you exactly how to become a BB main because we need more of you. We need more BB mains. We really do. There's too many cruiser and DD mains right
The cruiser and DD mains. But
Yeah.
battleship play can't put you to sleep, so I'm they're full disclosure there.
Yeah, that is true. All right. Now, the second of the three Kurfursts. um,
Okay.
just gonna do that. I know I love it, but it's kind of bad right now. It's kind of
Oh
bad.
no, 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 no. That is follow me on this one. This is gonna be my hottest take of the battleships here.
Okay, okay, go.
There's two Kurfürst. There's two ways to play Kurfürst. And it depends. Some of it depends on your commanders. Like everybody at this point should have Hipper.
Pretty much, yeah.
Von Hipper. Everybody should have
Yeah.
him. He's been out forever. So what I found playing Kurfürst and this particular part of the line, first and foremost, as I was going through and doing for my videos, especially the AP manual secondaries, they need help. I just see so many half pens, so many zero pens on German AP. Come on.
Oh yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, they did update. They quote unquote buffed the Grosser Kurfürst and gave it the 457s. They used to be the Friedrich de Gross guns that we have now, which were 420s, I think.
Yeah.
And
Long
those
time ago.
420s were, I know the 420s on Friedrich now, they suck. They suck so bad it's not even funny. But these 457s, now this might I'm gonna get hate mail for this one. If you don't have the space camo, if you have never been able to get that, don't go secondary build on Grosser Kurfürst.
Oh no, no, no.
Don't go secondary build on it. And this is why I had you add the two of them.
Yep.
So my historical camo Grosser Kurfürst with the extra dispersion from the historical camo, I run a dispersion build on it. And here now that I have the gold, I'm going to switch from secondary the elite mod from being secondary. I'm going to switch that over to the extra citadel protection and damage reduction. It's so accurate. It's so surprisingly accurate. Even at max range, I'm still hitting 7 out of 8 salvo shots on a max range ship. And it can sit there. It can do the initial slow play trade, sniping with the other battleships, taking that health that you still have because you're so damn tanky. You got
Yeah.
that turtle back mechanic to help keep the citadels down. You've got a nice big armor base. You're the second largest hit point pool in the game. Then you start doing a push with this thing, and you just clean up. This to me, with the historical camo and a dispersion build, goes right to competitive.
Okay, interesting. Mhm. The only reason why I'm gonna push back on that is because of the current meta. Yeah, it does great at sniping, but in my opinion, about halfway through the game, the Kurfurst switches from sniping to being the tip of the spear because it just has so much health, so much armor. You're able to absolutely be the one that makes that push, and you're able to use your tankiness to really just break enemy lines down, especially destroying a flank or anything like that. And while the secondary is definitely doing work, I want to give them like a 3 kilometer increase and a bunch of dispersion. I want them basically little Nuremberg guns, basically super accurate, but you've got a long range on them, but you don't really have that many of them, making it that fortress style of idea. It's like, hey, when you're within the Kurfürst's range, you know about it. But just the realistically, everyone knows just to burn it down. Everyone just knows just it. It is tanky, but it
It
just
is.
dies
I
so
feel you
much.
there, but if you're able to play it sitting back, like there's just games where I haven't even shot a secondary gun. I never got in range of secondaries, and I'm doing 100, 110, 120,000 just with the main guns. It's it's surprisingly, it's just surprisingly so accurate that everybody thinks of German AP, the main guns. Oh, they're not. You need to get up close to these things. You can sit back and play sniper with this thing and really just save those hit points. And you don't even have to push sometimes. If everybody can just come to you, and it's crazy how good this ship really is.
All right, maybe I'll concede high playable because I'm like I don't think it's competitive right now just due to how the
Mm.
meta is. I can't. It's all you
Like
do
I
is
said,
you burn up, and you're such an easy target. You're so massive too.
but if you're like I said, if you're playing it the style I'm playing it in, you're kind of away from the HE spam, the Gdansk, because you're away from the HE spam a bit, so it's not as bad as you think it is. You're just like, yeah. You should try it on your test on your press account. Just go straight dispersion, HE camo,
HE
eternal
camo.
bulkhead build. Not HE, H historical camo.
Hey. Okay, Mime
HE
already had me
camo.
test out the IFHE grosser. It doesn't work like IFHE
Yeah,
Fukushima
but
does. Okay.
like, like I said, try it with the historical dispersion build, and
I actually run it on my main account, Dispersion and Citadel Protection. I don't run it as a
that's
secondary build. It
and then just
I really do like it. It's just right now in the meta, God, it's not in
like I
comparison to
said,
all the things in competitive. I'm like, I'd rather play all those more in that situation because
I just
there's
don't
very
have
few
that
battleships.
issue with it.
Well,
Really
you're
don't have
lucky.
that issue with it.
Did you okay? Who do you pay off to get good matchmaking in this game? In the ship, though, because I'd never get good matchmaking in the ship.
Well, sometimes you got to get lucky, but with any battleship, it can. And I was just be honest, any battleship at this tier, you just run into just horrible matchmaking. You just might as well just go. Well, I could just go do something else for 7 minutes, come back, and my score is going to be about the same.
Yeah,
It
I know.
happens.
It's just like especially with the amount of shimmer rushes recently.
It's
Oh
not even
man.
the shimmer rushes. It's just like you said, the meta the way it is. I'm going to be honest. Battleship mains, we're not the top of anything anymore. We're we're
No,
a
there's
dying breed.
yeah. I will. I mentioned this in the DD tier maker, and I'm probably going to mention in the cruiser one. Just because of the prevalence of how powerful DDs are right now, battleships and cruisers are suffering completely, and it's just that high DD main capability and how many good DDs there are at tier 10. It's hard to kind of really go, oh my god, I want this battleship. I want to play this particular battleship. So
There's a couple cruisers that can withstand the DD meta, but like I said, because of you know, the one I just saw the videos for that Spanish destroyer.
yeah, the Bazan. Yep.
Oh dear God.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah,
And then let alone you still have Regolo, which is still doing really well. You're doing
yeah.
Tromp, which is just straight up a better Han Liu. Like it's
Gdansk, the HE spam. But like I said, there's a couple cruisers, but battleship mains. Uh, let's be honest, and I have some ideas to help try to fix that a little bit, but
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
battleship mains we're
needing the
like I said, a
buff.
dying breed here. Yeah, we need some
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, actually, I showed my list to Red because I had that mention of saying, hey, DDs are healthy, they're thriving, and that's why we have so many DDs in Matchmaker right now is because they are all very doing well. There's only like two basically that are in needs fixing, and then the playable ones even are still dang good and such. But when you look at like per se the list that I had for the lists that I have right on above and I'm talking about here, battleships, they are all really kind of stuffed in the middle. There's only a few that are meta, and it's really tough to be like, hey, I want to bring out a battleship right now. Heck, there's a lot of cruisers also that you don't want to bring out too. It's just
I don't have that issue. I don't have any cruisers. I have a couple of Napoli, Petro. I'll play those here and there, but like I said, I bring the battleships out and just like cross my fingers and I don't know, want to sacrifice something to make sure I get you like four battleships in a game against me. Oh no,
yeah.
it's so rough. But
But you know
well,
what?
we
There you
get
go.
to the end of this. I've got some ideas of how to help the battleships out.
Yeah, we could
Period.
definitely do
So
that. Yeah, definitely. But you know what? Let's talk about a ship that I don't give a about. Let's talk about meta. This is just fun. This is fun. Space GK. I'm gonna
Space
just put it
GK.
right in the niche because this is you get three of them together, and it is a bowling ball of 100. I think it's actually what was it almost 200,000 health barreling down a flank.
And
It's
it looks
so,
like as they're coming down the map at you, it looks like a rave going off with all the light show and colors. And again,
so worth it.
who's if you don't have Hipper, Von Hipper in this game as a commander, if you have Von Hipper out of space camo GK, and this is where you go your whole secondary build.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just like I said, fits right in the niche. It's now we could make the argument, and I don't necessarily need on Grosser Kurfurst that the manual secondaries get a range buff, that they need an AP pen buff
Yeah.
so bad.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's Bismarck, FDG, and Grosser Kurfürst. They need that secondary AP buff. Like I said, so many times I'm watching. I was playing. I think I was shooting like an Iowa with my secondaries, and I was bouncing AP shells with my secondaries on an Iowa. Like, come on, this is Grosser Kurfürst. It's German AP. Why is this happening?
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope.
If if you fix the AP, the manual secondaries on this ship, Space Kurfürst would go right into playable as well,
Oh yeah.
because it's just stupid fun. Beautiful to watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch when you're bringing out three of those.
It's just a party. It's a rave going down one lane of just a crap ton of health, and no amount of
Exactly.
DDs realistically can really harm them just because of how tanky they are. Unless it's like three Shimas, of course. But yeah, Space Girl first. It's a blast. I'm so glad you were like, hey, we want to. I want to add the space one. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, like I
I'm totally
said, to
fine with
me,
it.
they're two totally different play styles of what you can do with the ships, and it's just that's the one thing I love about some of these tier 10 battleships. Depending on commanders and camouflages, the amount of diversity of things you can do with these ships is actually amazing.
Oh yeah.
And I see your next ship on the list. I don't think there's a lot of diversity with
No,
that ship.
there's no, there's no need to talk about this top. Almost always in top three, I think, in my opinion. In comp, it does everything, gives you the amazing AP, insane citadel damage, and it's stealthy as you can stealth torp with it. It's got some badass looking camos. Even the historical looks dang nice and such. You can get the pirate camo. I've got that one. That one's super nice, but it's like,
I
oh,
picked the pirate camo up, and it's just
it's
you can jump scare cruisers, destroyers. You got your torpedoes to try to help against it,
you're so
and
long
that's
that you can just send them off and
yeah.
you're getting hit. Yeah.
But that's the only thing that keeps me from putting it into meta as a ship is because of the destroyer, the amount of destroyers in the game. Because if you get spotted out with this thing, it's got the tremendous AP salvo, but if you get spotted out and God forbid somebody's got a decent battleship in the game and sees you, you know,
I put it right in the meta because, in my opinion, because it has the four heals, you're able to pace yourselves. You look, you overreached, you took some damage. Cool, you can back away, stealth up, heal up,
Yeah,
come back up. It's got the speed to just re go on the other side. It's got all four skills that are all really nice to have for battleships. It's not anything that's going to take down a bunch of planes, but it does have helpful enough AA and
yeah,
such, but it's just the capabilities that it brings to the table. You pour, like, this is the, in my opinion, it's one of the best skill cannons of all of the tier 10 battleships, because it's just, you
yeah.
pump more into it, it treats you better. Except I will say
It,
the
it's
citadel, sometimes you just don't fucking get the citadels. Just like, I want to
uh,
see the big numbers.
you do, and it was another ship that we'll talk about with big Citadel issues. But like I said, this, yeah, you.
Much more
I could
consistent.
argue. I could argue low meta, high competitive. It's all dependent on who's behind the ship,
Yeah.
and you can put. I mean, honestly, you can put Tovi on here. You can put Beatty on there. You can. There's just so much you can do with this ship as well. That it jump scaring cruisers though is my favorite thing to do in this thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you're basically
uh,
one of the best cruisers in the game.
Alistair. uh, when we were playing, Alistair drafted me in Great Barrier Reef Trials 1 month, and then we got Mr. Jackson Highchurch on our team, and we had him as a destroyer. And okay, dude, all you're doing is just you're scouting for us. And I'm sneaking along in Incomp, and Alistair got himself finally into Hindenburg. And as soon as we could see like their cruiser, poof, gone.
Yep.
It was just ridiculous. So yeah, I'll agree with you. We could put it in meta.
It's
It's
it offers a
like you
lot.
said, it does, and if like I said, if you got a little bit of skill to make it work, it's so much fun.
I have to stop myself from playing it too much. Like, I want to play other things, but it's like, but in comp, I could just go play that.
I
Why
don't bring it
not?
out, believe it or not, I don't bring it out that much.
Well,
It's a
sometimes you
great ship.
want to test yourself a little bit. Like, you're like, I actually want to go play Kremlin or something like that. I want to try to make that work. Where like,
I picked up Incomp during Black Friday,
mm,
and I only have 20 games in it.
I think I've got like
I might have
25.
more tournament games in this ship than I do in randoms, but it's a fun ship. It's a
Oh yeah,
really fun ship to play.
super fun ship, super good. Now, man, we are going from one to the next. We're going everywhere. Kremlin.
Oh, Kremlin, Kremlin, Kremlin.
It's gonna go right into the bottom of playable. Barely needs fixing. Like I
See,
like
this
it,
is a
but
yeah, but
oh
it's one of the toughest ships to rank in this. I remember I remember distinctly on a hot summer day coming into you were voice chatting with some guys. I came in, I'm like, Sly. I figured out how to aim Kremlin guns.
yeah.
And and oh dear God, if you can aim these guns, they're fantastic. But the amount of work that you have to put into the ship to make it work. Like it's a great ship. It's got the most hit points of any ship in the game.
Oh,
It's not quite as tanky as Gross or Kurfurst, but it's got better fire and flooding resistance. It's got great AA for a battleship. But you
great
got to be able
secondaries
to aim
actually.
those guns. Yeah, good secondaries. But if you
Surprisingly,
can't aim those main guns, you're hosed. You're the early part of your match before you can start making a little bit of a push with this ship. You're screwed.
I have really learned to love Kremlin, and you do have to run reload in order to make sure you're getting those precise aims off at the right time and getting two of them off with one precise aim. The dispersion, a lot of people go, but the dispersion is really bad. Actually, it's one of the best and the worst. Like, you actually have the widest spread of dispersion as a battleship. And so
Yep.
sometimes you are landing warheads on foreheads, and then other times you're like, I think I hit 3 zip codes.
Yeah.
What was
I don't typically have the super wide dispersion part of it, so my dispersion seems to be a little bit better. Like the thing that aggravates me about Kremlin is Columbo technically has better dispersion than Kremlin. Should the 16 gun battleship have better dispersion than the quote unquote Soviet sniper?
I don't know. I actually view this as more of a mid-range one, and actually, I remember doing a 1v1 against, I think it was Part, I want to say, and he learned some stuff from Kremlin on me because if you can land those shells particularly in the right way, you got to have that aim down. Like people forget how powerful Kremlin can be. But at max range,
Ridiculous.
I've been wanting to actually change up my build to be a concealment build and actually get into more mid range brawls with the Kremlin just because of how those guns at mid range are devastating, especially
Oh, absolutely.
when we talk about trick Kremlin with this because that mine's tricked. Um,
Yeah. Now,
but
see, like my thought on Kremlin. Kremlin to me, and I think we talked about this before privately. That Kremlin is not a sniper. Kremlin's a mid-range brawler.
yep,
And yeah, you slow play the beginning, find your spot, start making the push with that thing.
yep,
But the trick is pay attention to how many people you let. You can't let too many people shoot at you, or you're gonna, like Mr. Mime would say on this thing. The bow and the stern on this
super
thing are
easy.
so big that you got to be so careful about how you're positioning with the ship because you one-on-one battles you'll take like any battleship in this thing.
Yep,
Once you open yourself up, you're just going to get melted, and Red's going to be flanking along with his Gdansk or his Rigolo farming 70,000 hit points off of you.
yep. It's so massive. But now let's kind of add in the tricked version because the leg mod is, I'd say it's, I wouldn't say it's controversial, but it's definitely people are wishy washy on it. What's your take on the increased armor that the leg mod gives it?
I love having the leg mod on Kremlin. Um, and the big thing with that is, okay, so everybody's got Kuznetsov for free. If you did that one personal challenge, you've
Yeah,
got Kuznetsov. So that's worst case, your worst commander on there. Um, if you've got Makarov and you've got the leg mod and you can throw the reload booster on here because your turrets are not getting shot off on this ship
no, they're
if you
not.
got the leg mod. And I don't care if you got the reload booster or not. I still think it falls in the playable category. It just goes right on the high end of it. I don't think it's quite competitive
I would
just because
agree.
of
I would
yeah,
agree.
because
Yep.
when you've got that leg mod on there, I mean you're not running into some of the bigger gun cruisers anymore. But what's a San Martin do to this thing's bow?
Disgusting.
Yeah, especially when it pops the funny button and the pen power goes up.
So this
So
is the leg mod. I always kind of put it as that if in a regular non-leg modded Kremlin, your worst enemy is battleships, and like that. When you have the leg mod, your worst enemy is heavy cruisers. Because now a Puerto Rico, every single shell is going to full pen.
Puerto
Yeah,
Rico, if you're
Henri,
close,
if you have a
yeah.
rapid reload Henri
Oh
on
God,
you.
just if you get too close to a let's say an island hugging Des Moines or Buffalo,
Mm-hmm. They're gonna eat you alive.
they're gonna eat you alive.
Yep. That's why I
And
don't run leg mod on it. I don't. I'd much rather be sneakier and try to dodge the battleships than deal with the cruisers because the moment the cruisers get into you, it's night and day. A whole
yeah,
difference. It's
it's
crazy.
like I said, they're very similar ships. So I don't know. I have such a tough time trying to tell people like my thing when I talked about Rekrumlin in my videos is if you have so it's if you have Makarov you can do this. If you have Kuznetsov you can do this. If you have the leg mod then you can do this. There's like it's such a versatile ship. So it's all on how you want to play it or your particular kind of battleship play style to how you can trick out Kremlin. And every different scenario or every different way you do it, it works. It just works. It's just such a big ship though, and if you're like I said, if you're not like super careful and observant to who's shooting at you, you're just
You're dead
yeah.
because
I
it's
mean,
health
you're gonna
tank.
get melted.
It's health tank and
You
it
just
doesn't have a fourth heal or anything. It's got more of the prevention of fires and
yeah.
everything. I
So
still think that the nerfs that they did originally should be reverted, and that would put Kremlin very much in competitive. Um, but
yeah,
God,
it's got such potential. I just don't know. I don't know exactly what to do because my thing about like giving some of these ships like offensive buffs to quote unquote fix them in certain players' hands, you're gonna break the ships. The ships will be so broken then. So like, yeah, I have trouble with Kremlin. I love the ship. It's a fantastic ship. I recommend at some point everybody grind it out and then see where you're at with it, whether or not you get the leg mod.
Soyuz is that's a rough one to say.
Soyuz is a and I put the video on it. I think I called it cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It's rough. I wish Kremlin was better. I use Makarov on it because I learned from Golden and like that about how powerful Makarov can be on it. Just because if
Yeah,
you do get in those mid range brawls, now like it becomes a Citadel monster just because of how much pen it has,
yeah,
and I
Makarov's the one
enjoy that.
commander I can't find.
Oh god, he's hard to get. He is hard to get. I
I
will.
try so hard, but
Jellicoe's
I can't
mine.
get him.
Jellicoe's mine. I can't get Jellicoe.
But yeah, I've 1v1 Golden quite a few times where I know the power of a Makarov Kremlin.
Yeah, a lot of people will say Kuznetsov. I actually put Kuznetsov now on Pietro, and that thing's stupidly tanky with Kuznetsov. So that's a fun one. But technically, Makarov on Pietro definitely helps a lot.
We can debate that one, but I'm not the cruiser guy, so
Yeah, that's true. We'll be having that probably next week with all the cruiser mains with Alistair and Matt.